Good morning, everybody. Welcome to IT Live. I'm Tex Homer. That is Ian Boyd. Today, we're going to talk about Sark's new offensive formula, what that means, and then we'll get into SEC preseason poll, and then maybe the strength of schedule argument that is tearing up all non-SEC fans on Twitter as of yesterday. First, head over to Inside Texas. You can join right now for $1, then 50% off your first year. That's awesome. The season is about to start. Take advantage of this. There's going to be information flying around all the time. Link in the description down below. Now, I know you and Cord on Sunday did a video similar to this in 11 personnel, but you dropped the article a little bit afterwards so we can talk about some notes that maybe weren't hit, but also explain the concept. All right. We already have a doubter here, and our man Ryan Nelson. Ian Homer, is it a new formula or just better players? I don't think offense will look much different just with better players. Let's hit this topic, and then we can see, Ryan. All right. Better players does help, though. That's always a part of the formula.
Better players let you do different things, though.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So set it up here. You got to, I don't think I can play it, but an old school BYU clip here. But what does this represent?
Well, this is just, I don't know how familiar people are with those old BYU teams, that they were like the proto air raid team in the 80s and 90s, BYU, and they would throw the ball around a ton and just have so much pass game concepts. And a lot of people were like, well, they only do that because they're older and so they can get away with it. We can't do that at our school. Maybe that was true to some extent, but it became not true. But so then if you are familiar with BYU's history as this like passing football heaven from the past, you may not realize that they played in 21 personnel all the time.
Yeah.
So here they are. Here's Sark in the super pass-heavy BYU offense, taking it to Texas A&M, and they got a fullback and a running back and some iffy guard play, and they're just chucking it around the yard.
Yep. So why do you show Sark's old team here? What's the value of?
Sark has been in the pro style world forever, and he prefers more pro style personnel generally. So at some point, I'm not actually sure when, but at some point at USC or somewhere, he moved from 21 personnel towards 12 personnel along with everybody else. Everybody was like, instead of using a fullback, let's use even more tight ends. And that's been Sark's modus operandi for a long time. And certainly last few years at Texas, even when he had Casey Thompson, they would still play tons and tons of 12 personnel. It's always been a huge facet of the offense.
And a part of his strategies that allows him to do certain things. Fans have been frustrated with it, myself too, at times. It felt like, why are we not just playing 11 personnel spread? But maybe with our personnel and our good players, as Ryan Nelson mentioned earlier, there's a way to do a handshake here between the 11 personnel and 12 personnel camp.
A handshake.
An agreement.
Maybe.
Well, it's what the whole article is about.
Is it? It's a weird way to put it.
You're blending the two worlds.
You're blending the two worlds by, I guess we're just jumping ahead. You can get the best of both worlds if your receivers can block.
Yeah, that is true.
If your tight ends are super fast and can catch, that is also helpful. But Sark prefers to have 12 personnel in the bag because when you really want to run the ball, you need the extra blocker or else the defense can just load the box, right? So if you're like sitting on a lead or whatever and you're trying to run clock and protect the ball, the other team can get you out of that in the spread unless you're willing to run your quarterback or run option plays or whatever. And it gets a little dicey. You lose some of the we're just going to do what you know we're going to do, and we're going to do it anyway. That's a lot harder to do from the spread than it is from 12 personnel. Because the whole point of the spread is spread them out and then put the ball where they aren't. And so if they're like, well, we're going to put our guys in the box and where they won't be is outside. So we dare you to keep throwing it outside or keep running your quarterback, then you have to do it, or you just play at a disadvantage. That's why Sark has never been all in on the spread, is because he doesn't want to do that. So he always maintains that 12 personnel possibility. But if you have all big receivers who are all willing to block and are actually good receivers, like Cam Coleman and Ryan Wingo and Emmett Mosley, the fifth, then you can just bunch them up and use them like tight ends. And if the other team is like, well, we're not going to let you bully us with receivers, we're going to put big guys on the field, we'll put an extra linebacker, we'll put an extra defensive lineman. Oops. Thanks for doing that. Now we're back in the spread. We'll forego the ability to just run out the clock if you're going to let us run Ryan Wingo in routes on a 240-pound linebacker. We'll extend the game, but score guaranteed points. That's fine.
So how do you change the math here?
That's it. The hybrid players change the math. Hybrid players can only be matched by other hybrids. And defensive hybrids are extremely hard to come by because it's a lot. So like, it's not that hard to find big receivers that will block smaller defensive backs. It's not even that necessarily that hard to find big tight ends that can run past linebackers, because defense requires more athleticism. Offense is about like skill and discipline, and defense is about athleticism. If you can get the 240-pound tight end that can run past someone and catch the ball and figure out how to get open against zone and all that, it's very hard to find his counterpart, the 240-pound dude who can run backwards and react to wherever the tight end goes and blanket him. You have to find a smaller guy to do that. And then once you find the smaller guy to do that, then you just ask the tight end to block him, and then you're back at disadvantage. So hybrid personnel is everything.
The whole game is defeating in detail. We have something here from Dre. Appreciate it, man. Sark has a tendency to keep games close and play ball control against teams we are better than. Do you think Sark will switch it up and go for more kill shots if the situation presents itself this season? Hook 'em, Dre. So I want to show Ian this because I think I'll like it. So this was a chart. I need to see who it's from. Cody Nagel. So this is the best closers in college football, and the number or the setting here is records in games when leading by 7+ points entering the fourth quarter since 2021. So he has a series of charts, and it just shows Georgia as like a juggernaut in like closing games. He has like 3 different charts. So really the point here is how incredible Georgia is, and they kind of stand above the pack on all the charts. But Texas is on this chart. They're a little bit below the line here at 900, but 9 out of 10 games here when Texas is leading, they do win the game. That's Ian's point. Essentially, is like the flash is non-functional for us, even though we want it as fans. I want it as a fan. Ultimately, the strategy works. Is that correct, Ian?
Well, it kind of looks like it doesn't, right?
It's still, you're still winning at 9 out of 10 games, even though they've put the magic line somewhere.
No, but the line is telling us that that's not that impressive to win 9 out of 10 in that setting. It's telling us that almost every team can do that, except the teams that are like notorious for choking,
right?
Like Nebraska and Michigan State,
right? But it's 9 out of 10 is still solid enough, but it's not. If you notice, what the charts are trying to say is it's nowhere near Ohio State, Georgia, these kind of Notre Dame. That there's an elite tier here of special closers. Texas is not the elite special closers. They're more on par with Louisville, Illinois, TCU, Georgia Tech, Virginia, Oklahoma State.
That is not that good. What are the games? They've played 40 games like that, and they've lost.
Yeah, According to the chart, we don't question the chart.
Wait a minute. Entering the fourth, what are the 10 games Texas has lost in this setting? Oh, they're all from 2021. That was like every single game in the 2021 season.
Since 2021.
But then I don't think have they even lost 10 games since 2021?
It wouldn't be 10 if you're 90% of 40.
So in 2022, they lost to Oklahoma State. They might have been leading by 7 points entering the fourth quarter in that one. They lost to Alabama. I don't know if they were leading by 7. It's possible. They definitely had a lead in that game that they lost. They lost to – who else did they lose to in 2022? TCU. I don't think they ever led in that game. This isn't adding up for me, Connor. I feel like it has to include the 2021 season when every other week they took a second.
It does include the 2021 season. That's what I'm saying. 2021 forward.
Okay. Well, then their winning percentage is a lot better than that, and I feel good again.
Yeah.
You notice, though, that the teams that are at the top, like the teams that just like never lose in that setting, are teams that are very run-centric. So Notre Dame is known for just running the ball. Georgia runs the dang ball. Tennessee actually does too, even though they're veer and shoot. They run the ball a ton. I see North Carolina State. They like to run the ball. Alabama, some of that. DeBoer is also as good a game controller as I've ever seen. And then Michigan would probably be all the way if they had more Harbaugh years, because that was their thing too.
Keep discussing it, and I'm pulling up some more charts. So just what else do you think is interesting about this chart here?
Blake Bryan is right. Every loss in 22 was one possession and like 4 or 5 or fourth quarter leads. I think you're thinking 2021. That may have been true in both seasons. I can't quite remember. Texas Tech in 2022, says Ryan Nelson. That's correct. Yeah, so Texas used to be bad at this, but they've not been bad at it since Sark really got rolling.
They have some other ones, but Texas is not even on the list on some of these. We'll see here. So this is comeback artist, record in games when trailing by 7+ since 2021. And then Texas is right here. I don't know if you can see it. See 10 games and right next to OU at the bottom, 10 games, win percentage. Right next to SMU, OU, Michigan. It's hiding right behind OU here in the bottom left corner. So, So Texas is not known as a comeback artist here. Once again, Georgia is a freaky outlier, as they were. This is like the story of Georgia, really, these charts. But the point, too, is when Texas is behind, they don't come back either.
I feel like that's probably partly an artifact of the Quinn Ewers era.
It could be.
Texas was very good at getting out to leads, and they would lose a lot of steam when the script was up. Also with Casey Thompson, certainly with Quinn Ewers. I think Arch Manning has a whole lot more comeback artist in him than those guys. I mean, we've seen
being able to run like that helps comeback artistry too.
I think being able to run like that, and also his ability to execute progression passing. So like he can get into a game and figure out the coverage and find an open guy. He doesn't need the play to be scripted open for him to find an open receiver. So Dre from VA 757, that was 2021 that you're thinking of, that awful game.
I was at that game and it sucked.
I was in a wedding. I went into the ceremony with Texas on like a 7 touchdown lead, and I was like, I can't believe this is happening. This is
it was the biggest high and low I felt in a single game.
I come out of the ceremony, I look at my phone, and I see like the quick score by Oklahoma, and I'm like, oh my God, I see Texas score at the very end, late on the deep pass to Worthy, and I'm like, okay. And then they do the thing where they like announce the bridal party, and you come out into the reception area, and I had to do that. And I was like, hey, everybody. And I go into a corner and like reload the phone. And it's like the kickoff and the like immediate score by it was what a terrible game.
So comeback artist since 2021 with factors. Texas is still since 2021. This has not been a strength of Texas. And then Georgia's good at it. And then clutch performers. I was trying to even look for us on here in the clutch performers metric. But you see once again, Georgia and Michigan are actually taking the lead there when it matters. But I don't even see Texas on this graph. But really cool charts, really cool way to visualize the fourth quarter there, because it can be tough because the fourth quarter will stick out in wrong ways to you sometimes, or you'll find a trend that's not there. But this is a good way to go about it. So all of that, showing you all of that, just to get back to what Dre was actually asking. Do you think Sark will switch it up and go for more kill shots, or will he continue his approach?
I think he'll do whichever he's better at. If it's padding the score with an extra touchdown, he'll do that. If it's sitting on the ball like Michigan or Georgia are doing to score so high in these, then he'll do that. And I don't think he cares which it is. I think he'd like to be able to run the ball. But I think we'll see him if he's like, I should get one more touchdown here in the third quarter to put this away. I think he'll do that. They're like, hey, Arch, look for Coleman on this one. They're getting a little nosy. Let's throw it deep. I think they'll do that
because of the new personnel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it'll play to their strengths.
Because that's my thing in the third quarter. The third quarter particularly has been weird for scoring with Texas. Sometimes in the fourth they'll come back because it becomes more crystallized and real. But they can have weird third quarters. I don't know why you don't go for kill shots. I mean, I really don't. If you can hit them, I can understand like when Quinn couldn't hit deep or something like that. But I don't know why you wouldn't.
Those Georgia and Michigan numbers are why you don't, because those teams don't care and they do this better than anyone.
They're better. I don't know about Michigan, but Georgia's the real outlier. They're better executors than us.
They were with Harbaugh.
Yeah, and Harbaugh from Michigan. They're better executors in the run game. We're not great runners. So it's like when we do it, it seems like we're choosing the weaker of our two hands. Like Georgia never has receivers. But it's like we do have elite receivers. So sometimes we forsake our explosive upside, which is what the whole offense is explosivity, and then choose to go to a weaker style of play.
I can remember multiple games very easily off the top of my head where Texas stopped scoring in the third quarter, even though Sark was trying to dial it up in the passing game. And then Sark would say, screw it, just run Wisner for the rest of the game and win that way. Because the passing game, they couldn't hit the kill shots. They would miss them.
That's why I think it'll be different with this team, because we couldn't hit the kill shots. I think you need to do that for two reasons, too. It matters what the playoff committee thinks, period. They're the decision makers. It matters what they think, no matter what. They are the ultimate gatekeeper, so they like big scores. They're simple in that way.
Can you bring up James Oliver's lament?
At 9:49?
Yeah. James Oliver says, go ahead.
All gas, no brakes means 10 offensive touchdowns. You don't stop until you get there. Defensive touchdowns don't count.
He's joking. But Sark was actually very clear. Now it's Sark's own fault. But he was very clear when he got here that all gas, no brakes did not mean we're going to try to score as many points in football games as we possibly can. He was explicit in explaining that the point of the mantra was we're going into this full steam. Everything we do, we're not pausing to look around. We're just like racing ahead to get this program on track. And like the aggressive attitude as a philosophy to life and as a philosophy to football and development was the point of all gas, no brakes. And fans heard what they wanted to hear, which is we're going to score 40, 50 points a game like my last Alabama team did.
To be fair, man, that's a very reasonable interpretation of it.
It is very reasonable.
Yeah.
But I hear like every day still, like on the message board, people are like, what happened to all gas, no brakes? And it's like, that was the point of it was never what you thought it was. And he tried, I get it. That's, of course, that's why fans latched onto it. But
if you were just to tell me a coach said all gas, no brakes, I would think it means aggression on field.
Well, yeah.
Not aggression in meetings. Like, get this done in the meetings. It's like,
no, but
there's a part of this that it's a fan mantra too, sold to the fans. Of course, it should materialize on the field.
He meant it as aggression on the field too, but not necessarily aggression like, our goal is not to try to win games. It's to score as many points as possible. That was never the deal. James says, if you score 70, it's hard to lose. James, you'd be surprised.
Go back to like old Big 12.
I've seen some Big 12 games. I've seen some because Liberty Hill run the ball every play, but they use tempo.
Yeah.
And they just try to score all the time. I've seen some wild stuff. Will Hammond with Hutto played a game against Liberty Hill before he graduated, the current Texas Tech quarterback. There was like 77-70.
I miss that era of the Big 12 too, man. That was a fun era. I was in like late high school during that era, and it was just fun to watch whoever played. It was absolutely great. But I think so. Ian's saying with this personnel and the fact that we can hit shots, he thinks we don't have to just hang out in the third or get frustrated early in the third trying to hit deep and then realizing it's not going to happen and then just shutting off the offense, turning it into a run-centric offense to try to kill clock. The goal is to score more points than your opponent. I agree.
If y'all watched Spain win the World Cup, a big trick to them was they really emphasized the opponents not scoring with their approach.
Yeah, but they also took like 50 shots on goal. They just didn't go in.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. Spain had a ton of shots on goal. Argentina has like 0 shots on goal all game.
And
so they did have a good defense, but they were also very aggressive offensively. They just didn't score, but eventually they did.
With Argentina, maybe. With France, everyone was like, France is so overpowered. France can score on anybody. You can't stop France.
Yeah.
And Spain shut them down mostly just by never allowing the ball to be in a position where France could use it to shoot at their goal.
But I think that's the point is like we know now that championship teams do both. Like you can have the elite defense and you can have the elite offense. So I don't think it's either or.
Well, no, but Spain, a big part of Spain's defense was the way that they possessed the ball.
Right. But our possessing the ball, we're not executors in the run game. So we say it like that they had ball control, but they were still going 3 and out on these runs. So it's like if it was like hyper effective and they were putting together these monster drives, they might have one where they actually drive the field in the run game and score in the second quarter. They might have one.
They were good at that in 24, and they want to be good at that this year if they can. In Georgia, the reason Georgia is so good is because Georgia can do that.
Exactly. But the point is we normally can't. So that's why I understand the global strategy of it, but it doesn't matter if you can't really do it.
Well, but people are talking global philosophy here. So
I'm talking local. But it's like if you can do what Georgia does, have at it. But we don't do that. So it's like, but also if you spam deep and can't complete, you also can't do that either. So it seems like there's a whole execution issue going on sometimes with the offense.
Georgia also loses in the playoffs every year, so
yeah,
still have that firepower.
Yeah,
you can't just run the clock out in the playoffs.
Yep. All right. Any final thoughts? We got way off track there, but any final thoughts from your 11 personnel article? Or you think we got the crux of it?
I think so. I'm sitting on some stuff that I've heard about it that is more proprietary.
What do you think it would actually look like, non-proprietary? What do you think it would actually look like on the field? What does having big receivers mean? Are they still spread out? Are they going towards the box? How does that work?
Just more bunch formations.
Okay.
There's so much you can do from bunch.
I do want to show the fans so they just have a visual on this. Getting these guys in here like this, now you can get smaller guys to block smaller guys. And so it even looks like, if you were just from a distance, it would look like there's 12 personnel, because it's in so tight. But these are the kind of looks we mean when we say bunch and wide receivers blocking. They're going to be trying to dig out ends, nickels, corners, all of that kind of stuff to give you some of the functionality of 12, but in 11 personnel, while still having the ability to flex out at any point and really tap into 11 personnel.
This duo stuff that they can do from it too is particularly good because, here's Ole Miss doing it to Georgia. They have a slot as the fullback. He doesn't even touch anyone. Go back up. This is like duo. And when you have maybe small, fast, athletic guards that you're not sure if they can really drive block people, well, if they have a double team help on both defensive tackles, and then your running backs are both unreal at bouncing runs outside because they're so agile, then this play becomes murderous. Because it hits downhill. You have combo blocks in both tackles. It's really hard for the defenses to not get creased up the middle against double teams. But then if you sell out inside, Raleek Brown will bounce that outside of the receivers and just house it.
I can get annoyed with condensed formations. I don't always love them. But when you have a speed back, it's perfect. Because if any of those corners lose their leverage in any way, shape, or form, it is wide open. Then Raleek just has to beat a safety around the corner if they don't even get pulled into the box. I love fast back condensed sets. Other than that, I think condensed sets can just bring if you're not a good executor, all you're doing is inviting more people to break the play. So you have to be able to execute. Your guys have to win one-on-ones. Otherwise, you've just located all of the defenders right next to a ball carrier.
It's very good against man and man match. We won our flag football championship majoring in bunch formations because the other top teams kept playing man coverage. And it gets really difficult because you can release, like in the bunch side, the stuff you can do route-wise is so difficult because, every defense has to default to telling the corner, wait for the first one out of the bunch and then just get that guy. Don't try to get this guy and then chase him through all that mess through the box. And the same thing happens in the run too, where maybe your corner is decently positioned to force the edge, but maybe your corner is not a guy that is up for that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's small, maybe he's timid. And then your best run defenders can just get caught in the wash. And it doesn't even really matter that no one gets a real physical block on them just because the mess of bodies makes it impossible for them to get where they need to go.
I think Smothers is really good at that too. From watching him, he can walk into the middle of nonsense, three guys around him, and then just work his way. I think he'll be really good on the interior. Do you expect kind of this in our run scheme? Do you expect basically vertical duo bunch type stuff paired with outside zone? Are those kind of the two run schemes you're thinking?
And pin and pull.
Yeah.
So if the Y can block the end one-on-one and do a passable job, then you can do all kinds of stuff. You can do duo. Duo is much, much better if you can do that. But you can also pin that end and then pull the tackle around. So get Siani or Trevor Gooseby out on the edge where they're extremely good. You can pull the center around and have
this is why we wanted Mizunis initially.
Yeah.
For this exact role. Because if that tight end can handle an end, you unlock a lot. If you can't, you're in trouble.
All of Texas's linemen can pull. They're all athletic.
Yeah.
Connor Robertson is actually really good at it.
Yeah.
And then actually, I don't know if I've seen Seymour or Baker do it, but I'd be surprised if they aren't at least adequate because they're mobile.
Siani does on tape really well. So that'll be the big key for 11. All right. We have some SEC poll stuff to talk, and I'm sure people. I think actually this one's been pretty non-controversial. Most
Did
people.
you hit the commercial yet?
That's what I was going to say. I was. Thank you. But before we do that,
for 30 minutes, Connor. I was getting nervous for you.
But before we do that, let's hear a word from old Drew right here. If you run a business in Texas, it could be real estate, construction, or manufacturing, you should talk to fellow Longhorn Drew Smith with Hub International. Most businesses outgrow their insurance, but they never update it. And Drew builds coverages around the business you have today, finding coverage gaps before they become those costly claims. When something does go wrong, Hub's dedicated Central Texas claims team are actually there to help. And in one case, Drew helped overturn a denied fire claim and got paid in full. The market is changing fast, but if your agent's only answer is it's a hard market, it's time to call Drew Smith at 210-393-8382. That is 210-393-8382. Make sure you talk to Drew before your renewal, not after. Contact information is down there and that their description. All righty, let's talk poll. This was non-controversial. I think everyone was actually okay with it because of what we experienced with Georgia.
Well, okay, hold on. The media took a side in a very notable conflict with this result.
Okay.
LSU being all the way down at 5th and Ole Miss being way up at 3rd. Is everybody siding with Ole Miss in the divorce?
In the divorce. I agree. I think that was, I think that's fair. I think LSU will be better, but I understand the psychology of like, I like Ole Miss better than LSU after that situation. But I do think LSU will be better than Ole Miss.
I also think Vanderbilt is maybe too high, and Mississippi State is too low.
Yeah.
I get that Vanderbilt has like lots of solid players, and I'm sure they still have a ton of veterans, but playing a freshman quarterback to do everything Diego Pavia did, I just don't think that's going to go well.
Yeah.
Pavia
he wasn't just too much in he was the machine, the driver, both like emotionally, but also he was the thing that connected the whole offense together. Now Curtis is a great prospect and all of that, but we just don't know anything there. But I would agree. I like Kamario Taylor's upside at Mississippi State. I like Levy's offense. They were close on a lot of games last year. They just didn't learn how to finish. Maybe last year was the year they learned they need to learn how to finish. I would agree with that analysis. A lot of people too said Kentucky was too low. They think Stein's going to get after it in year one.
I don't know.
But they often never name who should be below them. They'll be like, that person's too low. It's like, well, who do you want to move down? And they're like, no one. I don't want to move anyone down. So you have to think like that too. But
I'll tell you, like, if you study any of these teams and consider a best case scenario for them, you could talk yourself into any, like, I'm used to doing this in the Big 12, right? All of these teams, I could make a case as making the Big 12 championship game in a given year in the 2010s.
Yeah.
Which I know we're about to get into more of that. But these teams have so much more talent than the Big 12 teams of the past. And that also gets you into trouble when you're trying to you're trying to pick schedule outcomes. And you're like, you see Auburn that's picked 12th. You see Tennessee that's picked 8th. And you're like, okay, W. No, it's not just an automatic W. Those teams are going to beat teams next year that we're not supposed to lose to them.
We just did a short that's coming out. I can't remember the exact number. You'll see it. But it's something like since like the 90s, the preseason poll has picked the winner correctly like 10 times. And I'd like to see it too for like each kind of spot. But the preseason poll is not a hyper accurate thing. So there's that factor too.
There's too many teams now too.
What?
There's too many teams now. The people that are voting in the poll don't know all these rosters that well.
Yeah. Did you get to vote on this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's another thing. The voters in these polls may or may not be taking it that seriously.
Are you talking about yourself? Are you
They may
admitting?
have just come from the bar with Evan and are just like dozing off watching Troy on TV.
Did you? Who was your number one? Georgia?
I can't remember actually.
You can't even remember your
be,
number one?
I'm telling you. I think I was gonna do Georgia, and then I was like, nah, screw it. Like Texas is gonna be really, really good. I think they're better than Georgia this year. I'll just put them number one.
Yeah. You do a whole article here where you had one ahead of it. Do you want to do your first kind of 6 points to this? Talking about teams, or you want to go right into their differentiator scheduling?
I had 6 points.
You talk about 6 teams right here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, sure.
Okay. So these are your first kind of top line thoughts here.
I think these are like universal. Everyone is on the same page with the voting, right? Number one, Georgia is in the SEC championship every year. We just saw all the charts. They don't lose games hardly ever. So that feels really safe. Just put Georgia number one until they're not Georgia anymore. Okay, 2. Everyone agrees that Sark put together just an unbelievably talented roster. It's insane not to put them really high. 3, this one maybe not be quite as given, or it should maybe be lower. This is how I thought about it. LSU also insane roster talent. Lane Kiffin is used to putting these teams together. Don't count out LSU. Ole Miss, best player in the conference, maybe Trinidad Chambliss. You could also say best player in the conference, Kewan Lacey. Some people might think that as well. Return a bunch of defensive linemen, add some more in the transfer portal. Just went to the semifinals with some of the same core guys. A&M, 11-1 last year. Marcel Reed could get better. Lots of talent. And then Oklahoma. People are going way overboard with this, but Oklahoma having that Brent Venables defense and then getting all this personnel to where they could actually run the ball this season.
Yeah,
it makes so much sense why they would just be really good this year.
The dark horse, unfortunately. Dude, they made the playoffs with like no offense. Like it was a good coaching job by Venables. It was not a good preseason coaching job by Venables to not have an offense in place. But they overperformed for what they had.
They got.
What do you mean? They had no tight ends. They had no run game. They had no Satania, right? But no freaky wide receiver. Mateer was hurt, and he's a little bit schizophrenic with his play style. Like, I can't ask you to give them credit, but it's like they did to get to the playoffs with that on offense. It's been significantly upgraded.
Okay, I'll give Arbuckle a little credit because Arbuckle would hit like 1 or 2 big plays every game with Satania. Just like draw something up to get him loose in space, and Satania would take off. And that was enough because they had the bicycle shorts kicker.
Mm-hmm.
And their defense was not only was the defense playing really well, but the defense would put that offense. They were like spoon feeding games to the offense with turnovers and field position. The other thing with Oklahoma is that preseason, you looked at the schedule and it was like, this is a murderer's row.
Yeah, they tried to hold on to that even when the season was over. Yeah, it did not.
LSU collapsed.
Yeah.
Auburn hit worst case scenario. Alabama was super beat up when they played them.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama got like a little bit healthier for the playoffs and then destroyed Oklahoma in the playoffs in Norman. Tennessee was like a really impressive win, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee was like
Michigan turned out to be a solid team, but they were super fresh in their season when that happened.
Yeah, Michigan was not that good. Tennessee was whooping that butt. And they kept like shooting themselves in the foot with like how many interceptions and turnovers did they have?
Yeah.
Tennessee, like, they should have won that game like easily, and then they kept turning the ball over. Credit to Oklahoma State.
Was Auburn the one that the refs single-handedly like took 3 scores off the board or whatever? Was that the Auburn game? Chat, what was the game where the refs? I'm not even a ref guy. Those refs legitimately changed the outcome of that game. I think.
I mean, there was the cheating play where Satania pretended to go off the field.
There was like a brutal broad daylight pass interference that didn't get called right in front of the ref. And normally I'm like, let them play, but that one was egregious. Yeah, it was Auburn.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
they shouldn't even have beat Auburn if the refs had avoided, like, gave a touchdown and took 2 away. Like 21 points, refs got involved into that game.
Yeah.
But the point remains the same. If Mateer grows up, they have a run game, all of that paired with the defense. The dark horse pick here is a reasonable one to have.
They're a very popular dark horse. JD Pickell, I mean, it feels like he has like a gimmick to oversell Oklahoma every freaking year. But he picked him to go 11-1 the other day, which is remarkable. That'd be quite a season.
I'd have to see their schedule. I wouldn't know. I think 10-2, but like I said, if I'm not looking at their schedule, I can't just make up.
All right. We're gonna have to do this now. You can't just throw this red meat in front of me.
Let me pull it up because I'm the one that actually bring it on screen.
All right.
All righty.
11-1 is very generous in my estimation.
Yeah, I just have to look. I can't just say they're 9 and whatever if I don't even know who they're playing necessarily.
They could be a very good team and win 8 or 9 games.
UTEP dub, Michigan dub, New Mexico dub.
Whoa. At Michigan is not just an automatic W.
I don't know how quick Whittingham's going to get it going and who I believe in, and I don't know how much I believe in Bryce either.
How much do you believe in John Mateer on the road against a Michigan defense?
Allow me to work, Ian. Michigan dub, New Mexico dub, Georgia L, Texas L. So I'm already not 11-1. Who did he have them losing to?
Georgia.
Kentucky. I'm not doing the one team that can upset you. Just we're setting Vegas lines here. Kentucky dub, Mississippi State dub, South Carolina dub, Florida dub, Ole Miss maybe L.
Dude.
Texas A&M maybe L. So I could have them with 4 here.
They're gonna beat A&M because A&M has.
They're gonna make Reed work.
No, A&M plays. A&M plays Texas 6 days after they play at Oklahoma.
Ooh.
And they have to. Elko has to beat Texas. So I don't think A&M can give Oklahoma a winning effort and winning it enough attention. So that's a great.
I see 3 or 4 here. So yeah, I'm against the 11-1 pick. Sorry, JD.
This is what I was just talking about though, because JD goes through it and he did the same thing you do. He's like dub. It's like, no, those are not freaking automatic W's to go.
They're not, but we're just going with Vegas lines. Like, who's the favorite?
Vegas is gonna.
I'm correct, but
we'll figure out what your odds are at Vegas to bet on Oklahoma. They're set at 7.5 wins, Connor.
Yeah, but I'm saying 7.5 is actually impressive. I'm not agreeing with JD here. I just said they could have 4 losses. But I'm saying it's still impossible to go Kentucky, maybe Mississippi State, maybe. It's that exercise.
It's the road games, though. The road games you have to give it. Texas was this close to 7-5 because they barely beat Mississippi State on the road and they barely beat Kentucky on the road.
Yeah. So where do you have them at? What's the number that's reasonable to you?
All right, I think UTEP, New Mexico. I think Kentucky at home. I think A&M at home. Those are like at least 4 automatics. I mean, A&M at home is not an automatic, but I feel pretty good about that. I think, let's see here. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 road games in the SEC. Let's say they split those. So they're 6-2. And then it depends on Texas and Michigan and like Ole Miss at home. So I think 8-4 and 9 or 9-3, unless, if Mateer gets injured again.
Of course.
But the way that dude plays
increases likelihood.
It increases likelihood.
They let's see, back to your chart here. So you kind of go through each groups here, kind of spots. Let's talk about Texas. What you're thinking here. So I'll read it aloud.
Oh, that was the point of this article, wasn't it? Was these schedules?
Yeah, but I brought up OU might having a better season.
Well, at least we were on the right topic.
All right, Texas. For me, Florida is emerging as one of the better dark horse options to make the playoffs from the middle of the pack, just based on their roster. The fact that they have to travel to both Texas and Georgia does put a damper on that. The Longhorns will play both rivalry games away from Austin and go to Death Valley in Tennessee there. So are you doing this exercise how you did with Oklahoma? You're still factoring in the question marks for Texas too?
The premise of this was that in the last few years, the easiest way to pick the top finishers in the SEC was to go look at the schedules and figure out who dodged all the bombs.
Yeah.
Because we thought Oklahoma was finished going into last year because their schedule looked like it was filled with landmines. But then a bunch of the teams that were supposed to be landmines fizzled, like LSU.
Yeah.
Texas and Missouri. And there's another team in the last couple of years had very notable favorable schedule draws. Like the year that Texas went to the SEC championship in year 1, their SEC schedule was like kind of a joke.
Yeah, it was.
It was like unbelievable how like
the fans would get mad too because all the fans would say it's the easy draw. Like, it's not an easy. It's like, guys, this was
Billy Lucci got just ratioed to hell because he had been talking up for so long. It's like SEC schedules are different. You can't just come in here and put up wins. Like the schedule is too hard. And then Texas did it, and Lucci was like, y'all got an easy schedule.
Yeah.
And so he looked dumb, but he was right.
Yep.
And then I think it flipped back on him again last year because A&M played like the bottom 10 teams of the league or something, the bottom 8 teams of the league.
Yeah.
Poor Luch.
Yeah.
But so the point of this exercise is to find out if there's a team that, with the new 9-game schedule, are there teams that get a decent draw, or are they all like, you have to be great or it's just not going to happen? Like that 23 Missouri team or whichever team it was could never finish the same way with these new 9-game schedules.
Were you able to successfully find this team?
There is a team that I think has a better draw than most. And that is LSU.
Damn.
So they have at Ole Miss early, and you're like, that's one of the toughest games in the year. They're going to be out for blood. They're going to have to like check people for weapons going in that they don't try to kill Lane Kiffin, right? But then after that, it's not so bad because they get Texas and Tennessee and Alabama and Mississippi State all at home, and Texas A&M. Like, how in the world?
Yeah.
The road games, Kentucky, Auburn. Oh, it is at Tennessee. Okay. At Tennessee and at Arkansas. Like, those are all pretty manageable, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're just the fact that their schedule is so home heavy, and they just happen to have maybe the best home field advantage in the SEC, right? I don't know. I don't know what the consensus on that is. I think LSU is considered to be pretty far up there.
Once again, I never know. Do you have a home field advantage, or is your football team just very good? You know, I'm just weary of home field advantages. I agree with spectacles, like coolest stadium or whatever, but it's like you would have to look at the spread and see if they overperform it. And it's like, is the home field advantage because
you can't overperform this if you're consistent at it? The spread will reflect it.
In
Vegas spreads,
there's no magic market.
Very notoriously consider home field advantage.
They do, but it's generally consistent in that 2 to 3 points.
I know Urban Meyer used to say that when Ohio State would play Penn State in a night whiteout game, that he thought the Vegas point spread was about a touchdown in favor of Penn State. He was like, that's how much of a difference it made. If you're on the road at night at LSU, I think that's worth a lot.
Do you think Vegas is giving 7 points on that?
No, not every week.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't. You're overperforming if you're overperforming your spread, then I consistently over time, then I do think so. But it's mostly an argument that I use against A&M all the time because they don't overperform the spread at home. Therefore, it's not a home field advantage, even though it might be cool to look at. I think Tennessee has the coolest, spectacle.
All right.
Stadium.
Since 2000, the Tigers are 112-15 in Saturday night games in Death Valley. Not against the spread, just total.
Yeah. But I'm saying, how do we decouple that from that's a really good football team versus that fan yelling in Section B had a factor? You get what I'm saying? Because technically a home field advantage would be a team that's actually not that good and the field is winning them games. But it's like if their average score in winning games was 3, then you could say home field advantage. But if their average score is 10, then they're still outperforming by 7 points. Does that make sense? This is not really worth going into 10 minutes on. But that's my thought. It's like I don't know how you truly decouple that. But I'm not denying that LSU is a cool place to play. I just think home field is a little overhyped besides the 3 points or whatever at this.
I don't know how you say that watching Texas the last couple of years. Texas and there have been so many games the last 2 years where we've been like, this is going to be tough for Texas. And then it's in DKR and it's not tough. And then there's road games where it's whatever, Kentucky, no big deal, Mississippi State, and it's a huge deal.
Yeah, but I don't think it was because Kroger Field was messing with us. It's like I don't think it. Yeah, the cowbells are super annoying. I could never be a Mississippi State fan just because of the annoyance of that. But I don't think it was their fields that did that to us.
I think the fields. I think it has a lot to do with it.
I think there's something to do with comfort, not audible fan noise, but I think there's something to do with comfort. That they're used to playing, they practice on that field. I think there's something there but just
audible fan noise is enormous. It's hard to get your signals in. It's hard to communicate.
It can be, but it's not. My point is that I think it's overvalued. Not that it does not exist. That 3 points is not the same as a 10-point advantage for a good team.
3 points is meaningful though.
But no one's just winning by 3 is what I'm trying to say, Ian. They're winning by 10 and 14. They're the better team. So that's my point, is that oftentimes the fans with the great stadium or the great teams that have great stadiums is because they're great teams. They're historically great. They got a bunch of fans. They got the money to go to 100 cap because of their team's success. That's why Iowa State doesn't have 100 cap. So it's I think the quality of the team precedes all of that.
Yeah. But the stadium makes a big difference. And the SEC stadiums are extremely hard to play in.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. You're not listening what I'm saying. I think that it is a factor. I do not think it's as big of a factor
as how good the team is?
Correct.
Well, duh.
Yeah, but that's my point. If we're talking the math of it, 3 points and 10 points, I don't think it mattered. It would be far more interesting if a team was dead even, there's no spread, and then that team 100 times has won by 3 exactly by home team advantage. That's where I'd be like, this is a very crystallized.
That's what Vegas assumes.
They're giving 3. They're not winning by 3. Let's move on to the next topic. We can discuss this ourselves, but I don't want to take 10 minutes out. All right. So you think LSU is the one here?
They have the most favorable schedule.
Yeah.
I think. And they're also really good. So I would already include them. Like, to me, the top 3 rosters are probably Georgia, Texas, and LSU. Maybe Ole Miss. Maybe Alabama, depending on they have a few different things that are hard to tell at this juncture. Like, are they playing Keelan Russell, and where is he at? Or is it Austin Mack? And I don't know. I have an eye on Alabama, but to me, those are like the clear most talented rosters. And if you look at the schedules, LSU schedule is very favorable to them, unless, like Connor, you believe that playing in Death Valley is meaningless.
Yes, that is the quote. All right, Georgia. Ryan Nelson, I think Georgia has the easiest of the contender schedule. You say here they don't have to play at Texas or LSU, which helps, but they do get everyone else and will have to play 2 to 3 road games of real significance. This is better than some other draws, though. If we know that they can close in fourth quarters, we know they go to the SEC championship all the time. They're not playing LSU, who you think could be an easy dark horse winner. Texas, of course, we think could win it. Yeah, it seems like this could be an obvious pick, and it makes sense because they're number 1.
I think at one point I had Georgia LSU as the SEC championship, with Texas at like 10-2, making the playoffs and then having to prove themselves there instead of the SEC title picture. I don't remember where I landed, though, in that ballot. But yeah, Georgia, it depends. If Bama ends up not being that good, then this schedule is not going to – it's going to be really hard to keep them from the title game, right?
So what do you think this means for Texas? Is it ultimately that Texas – see, you think we'll lose 2 SEC games? We did a show last night. I think the true or false statement was they're going to go 11-1, and I said false. So I think 10-2 as well.
I think the most likely losses are Ohio State and LSU. And then could they lose a second SEC game? Absolutely. Better not time that with a loss to Ohio State, that's for sure. But
it's a problem because I'm looking for breathability here, and at times I think I see it, but then you have the factor of that they could rise up and upset you. So you're going to have breathability before Ohio State. You're going to have breathability before Tennessee, but you're not going to have breathability before OU besides in a bye week.
Because I am a God-fearing man, unlike Connor, I immediately go to the road games as the ones where things can really go sideways on you. And I've already got LSU basically penciled in as a loss. At A&M is obviously going to be really big, could decide the entire season. At Missouri, I just can't get that worried about. Maybe that'll look foolish. At Tennessee, obviously, could be a landmine. I mean, and then there's Oklahoma, obviously. Oklahoma's going to come for blood in that game.
But it's like when I pick out the teams, it's like Ole Miss. Well, it's like, all right, we have Florida before. We should be fine. But also it's like, what's Summerall doing there? They also have a bunch of elite players. Like we tried to poach 2 of them off of their offense. I think Ball was obvious.
If one of Florida and Ole Miss were on the road, I would feel really rough about trying to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Getting those in DPR is enormous.
And then I'm like, well, LSU, we have Mississippi State, Missouri before. I think we'll be okay with Mississippi State, even though Kamario Taylor could go, sicko mode. I think I'm the same thing with you. I kind of question Missouri's actual success over the past seasons because of their light schedule. But I think that could be unwise. And they could get you looking at LSU. So that's the problem is like, and then Arkansas, whatever, man. But it's like, I don't see the necessary breaks that I want to see either because I do get I'm given pause at times, even by these teams that wouldn't be favorited. So I do think the answer to me is I think we'll lose 2 games.
Yeah. I think I just put 11-1 in the round table. I go back and forth because sometimes I'm looking at Texas and I'm like, this is such a juggernaut team. I can't believe how much talent and overlapping, like positive, like reinforcing skill sets there are in this team. This is going to be amazing what this team can do. And then other times I'm looking at the schedule and the other teams and I'm like, dear God. Like there's like
it's the odds.
They'll be favored in every game, maybe not LSU. It's possible Texas will be favored in every game at kickoff, but they are like so many losable games.
Do you think Sark's ever outperformed his talent at Texas?
Has Sark ever outperformed his talent? Period.
That was my initial thing that I was going to ask you, but I thought maybe it was too harsh sounding.
Maybe so is Washington.
I was going to say you'd have to go to Washington.
I mean, he picks his spots, so it sounds worse to question that than it really is because you're always on loaded programs, and of course you're going to have loaded teams.
And he has maximized loaded teams. I mean, he has USC and
yeah,
so he has done it.
Yeah, I don't know his style.
I think the talent has to be so overwhelming, which it might be, that sometimes that lack of execution just doesn't matter. You have enough room to make those mistakes. You have enough room to have some dumb penalties. You have enough room to stall the run game out at times.
I can't help but be curious what another coach would do in the current iteration of Texas football.
Yeah, if they didn't have control over the talent, because I think we wish for that too. Is like, well, what if we had some real executing guy? It's like, yeah, but would the real executing guy have Cam Coleman? Would he have Arch Manning? And so that's why I get worried, because sometimes, yeah, you do fantasize about it, but you're like, Sark's also built this roster that I don't know if everyone else would build.
Yep.
You know,
it's not a given. It's not a given at Texas that all the resources available are actually going to get recruited and leveraged.
Correct.
Like Mac Brown or Sarkisian have done.
Right. Or they don't have the offensive allure that Sark has, right? Like players want to play for Sark because it's repeated how good offensively he is. Sometimes he is, sometimes he isn't. But it's still the idea out in football is that it's an elite offense. So that helps gain players too, that if you had like a defensive-minded coach, there's no guarantee that you would allure Arch Manning, Cam Coleman, that kind of stuff too. Careful what you wish for, I guess.
I don't understand how Texas has not had more top 10 defenses in the last 15 years.
Defenses or offenses?
Or offenses. It's like it should be one of the easiest setups possible because you're the flagship program of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And the offenses in the state are unreal with its skill, talent, and quarterback development in particular. So I don't know about that part.
I just think overwhelming talent is what we needed. That's what we said going into the season. That's what I ultimately settled on. Not wishing for what I want to see on the field, but like maximizing what Sark can do. And I think it's just you have to have more and bigger guns. And I think we might have that. But it's still a tough schedule. Catch the wave. Thank you, man. Is Raleek Brown comparable to Darren Sproles?
I don't think that's a good comp. I think Landon Williams Callis, is that the right sequence of those names?
Yes.
Landon Williams Callis is very Sproles-ish. Raleek Brown is
I don't have a comp. You got one?
I think I could come up with one. He's small, but he's not like Sproles was like 5'5" or something.
Right.
I used to give out a fake award called the Darren Sproles Waterbug Trophy for Most Outstanding Tiny Person.
Deuce Vaughn also later probably went on to win such a thing.
Deuce Vaughn, I believe, won. A lot of guys won, and I had these requirements where if you're this tall, you could only weigh this much. If you're this tall, you can only weigh this much. And Raleek Brown is, as far as running backs go, he's not really that tiny because he may only be like 5'8" or 5'9", but he's like 190 pounds.
Yeah.
So he's very compact, and he's not like the real Sproles is shorter than me by a meaningful amount.
Yeah.
Raleek Brown is about my height, and then plus 30 pounds of muscle.
You would say Raleek is smaller, but it's not a curiosity. Like some of those guys. Yeah.
So I feel like there's like a million guys like him, and yet none of them are springing to mind. I'm trying to remember how big Eno Benjamin was. Eno Benjamin was 5'9", 207, kind of similar. I think Raleek is actually more explosive than him. I don't know.
Thanks for this, Ryan Nelson. 2008 offense was the last time UT offense ranked in top 10 by advanced metrics. It was top 5.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's very weird. We'll see. If there's any year to do it, it has to be this year, right? I don't know we said it last night on the show, but it's like I don't know what more Sark requires at this point. It's like you have the cool environment in Austin, you have academics in Austin, you have one of the bigger NIL opportunities, both paid by the school, but also just the market around you to pay athletes. You can get guys national deals. You get a Heisman contending quarterback. You get a first-round wide receiver. Wingo can go somewhere in the early rounds. Mosley can go somewhere probably middle to late, right? You have an offensive line that has a top 10 pick at tackle. Stiani will be in the NFL. Baker will be in the NFL for sure. And then you have 2 dynamic backs. I just don't know what more would be required to get a top 10 offense out on the field.
It's funny. If you go player by player, the NFL talent on that 08 roster is nothing compared to the NFL talent on these Sark teams.
Yeah.
But that 08 team was meaningfully better on offense.
Yeah.
They were old and skilled, Connor.
Yep. So that's what we need to see. But ultimately, I'm good with the media poll. There's a little bit of gripes here or there, but Georgia number 1 is fine. Texas at 2. I'd probably move LSU up.
What's your biggest gripe?
I don't really have one. That's what I'm saying. Like, I thought this was a pretty fair distribution. Like, it all kind of makes sense here. Who's in the middle is who I think could rise up or drop. Who's at the bottom is who you kind of assume. I think my biggest gripe, honestly, might be Mississippi State at 15. And I would only move them up to like 11 or 10.
Yeah, right.
But I think that would actually be my biggest issue with it. Because the SEC does have the talent stack. So it's like any of those top 5, it could happen for. And some in the middle, it could happen for. So I'm not that mad about it. A&M too high at 4. They should be 7. I don't know. The difference between 4 and 7 too is like so minuscule here. So I think in aggregate, the jelly bean thing, you get enough people guessing, I think you get close to something correct, and I think they did that here.
Jelly bean? What?
The thing where, like, if you ask one person to guess how many jelly beans are in a jar, you're going to be way off. But if you ask 100 people to guess, you get closer to the actual number. So it's the wisdom of the crowd, mathematically proven. So the more input you get on things like these, the closer to accurate they'll become.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to work for the Big 12, but all right.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I think it's the idea of, voter polls, right? They get it wrong sometimes, but on average, there's been some recent ones they got wrong that it'll stick out in your mind. But on average,
that's a very different science.
Well, the science is just sample size. That's like getting enough guesses will get you somewhere more reasonable. Single person and an extreme either way.
The reason asking more people will get you closer to the jelly bean count is because the more people you ask, the more likely it is that you ask the right people.
Sure, but
it's not an average of the crowd.
No, it is.
No, it's not. It's not, because what happens if you ask 100 people, the good answers will carry the day.
The good answers don't count any more than the bad answers.
So it's just the average of everyone.
Correct. It's the wisdom of the
Still,
crowd.
it's still weighted. It's still
it's
the
just
good votes. The good votes, you increase the likelihood of good votes that weigh it the right way.
Sure, but yeah, it's still just a bell curve. You're right, and there will be less extremes, but the risk is you can ask any single person, and it'll go wrong. But that's why I think asking more people on a media poll is better. How many do they ask? They ask everyone who's in attendance.
Yeah.
Okay.
They had like just doing math in my head, must have been 150 to 200 people that voted on it.
Okay. And different types too. You would have like the site guys, but you also had some analysis guys and stuff like that too. So yeah, I didn't think it was a controversial poll here. And the problem is we didn't have time to get to strength of schedule, but I think it's reasonable because everyone's pretty good. So you don't want to blatantly argue yes or no on a lot of them because the gap is small at times.
Did the strength of schedule confirm what I said about LSU having one of the easier paths?
I'd have to look at it real quick. Let me pull it up. Strength of schedule here. The problem everyone was mad about, if you have extra time, we can go a little extra, but the problem was everyone was mad about is that the SEC is the one with all the top 10 or whatever. So every other league was like that this is a self-fulfilling cycle, and of course ESPN is signed with SEC, so therefore they have this base. But the reality is all they do is calculate FPI, and then they make the FPIs play each other. And then they're like, we don't even know what's in FPI. It's like, yes, we do. They tell you that it's returning production, it's coaching hires. Now, we've done shows on that. What does coaching hires mean? But they do list the criteria. So it's not like they tip the scales here for the SEC. They had a standard metric that they applied. But Ohio State's still number 8. I don't know when the first time, I think it's Ohio State is the first time you have a non-SEC team. Yeah. And then you don't have another one until Michigan at 16.
Mm-hmm.
But Arkansas with the toughest path here. And OU at number 2, right? So that can help your non-11-1.
Yeah.
argument.
Yeah. No way. Come on,
But also it should hurt our 11-1 Texas argument.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's gonna be tough, boys. It's gonna be tough. Just try to have fun this season. Everyone head over to Inside Texas. Join for $1, 50% off your first year. Guys, season's about to start. Camp's about to start. Bunch of team intel getting dropped. So come hang out with us. New members only. Old members, we still love you. Everyone stay locked in for the rest of the shows we got coming at you later today. See you later.